Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Didier from ToutSuite Social Club, and I'm so happy I have one of my very favorite winemaker and friend here with me tonight. And his name is David Long from David Arthur. And David, very nice for you to make the trip from down the hill. And I just before we start, you're gonna tell me the truth, but nothing but the truth, right? That's how we're gonna start this thing.
We can start that way.
Okay, all right. So here it is, and we do have also a live audience with us tonight, so we're gonna have some pretty interesting questions. Our Twitter handle, if you want to reach us and ask us questions, is at ToutSocial and fire it up. That'd be great. You do have also a Twitter at David Arthur. No. At David Arthur Vine. So all right. So fire up the questions. First question tonight. David, tell me a little bit about you. I know that your father was a butcher. That you coming up from Chicago, Illinois. You came up here in Napa Valley in mid '70s, and what happened? What was it beyond that?
Well, so I had been, and I don't, I share this occasionally, not with everyone, but I had been a failed restaurateur from Boulder, Colorado.
Okay.
Was actually at the restaurant one snowy night, and my father called me on the phone and said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, it's really slow. It's snowing outside. No one's coming in to have dinner. No one's coming in to have fondue." It was a little fondue restaurant. And my father says, "So what are you doing right now?" And I said, "I'm drinking." He said, "What are you drinking?" I said, actually said, "Dad, I'm having a glass of Chapelet Chenin Blanc." And he said, "You would not remember this, but sometime before you were born, a little bit after," he said, "I started buying property on Pritchard Hill, and it actually is property that adjoins the Chapelets." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "How much property did you buy, Dad?"
Sneaky bastard. He never told you anything?
No, I never knew. I mean, I always knew growing up there was always maps, unrolled on the table. I was always looking at property maps. And he said, "I bought 970 acres. And I think immediately I hung up the phone and headed for the airport and was on my way out to see my father.
Oh, all right.
And so he said, let's go for 5 days up to Calistoga and visit the property and see what's going on. And this is way before any restaurants opened in Napa Valley or.
Well, do you remember the year about?
I'm going to say it was 76. I think.
Okay, all right.
So we stayed in Calistoga, and we spent time in all the different, in the spas, and that was my father's way, and I see it now. The genius of my father was, let's take you up there, let's show you what a great time Napa Valley is, and it was his way of setting the hook really deep. He showed you all the good things, and then was ready to take it away from you, but he would say, "Do you like this life? Do you enjoy this?" And, how can you not enjoy it? It was great. And so I said, "Dad, I love this." And he said, "Well," and this part I had not shared with you, I dropped out of school after being in college maybe a year and a half at the University of Denver. I walked away from school, and my father said, "The money that I would have spent on you finishing school and going to graduate school, I've saved that money. If you would have interest in starting a vineyard, we would take that money that we would have spent on school, and we could start some vineyards."
Yeah.
And I thought I intended only to be a farmer, never to be in this wine business.
Yeah.
And after growing grapes a bit, Joy, Laura's mom, came to me and said, you know how to make wine, and this is kind of another story, maybe we'll get to this. You know how to make wine. Why don't we buy our own barrels and start making wine? And so I was growing Chardonnay, and that began us having
Chardonnay was the very first grape you
Very first grape.
Is that right? All right.
And I tell everyone this, that if you start a vineyard, and mine came, after working at Chapelet. I worked at Chapelet first, kind of cut my teeth, working in the vineyards there, and trying my first Chardonnays. And I tell everyone this: if you start your own winery, you should plant grapes that you may have to drink a lot of, because it can happen.
Sure.
Business gets tough.
So how you come out from a David Long to David Arthur?
So now I start the winery. It had no name, and I was more interested in how the wine tasted than I was about the name. But my father called me and said, "David, what are you going to call the winery?" And I said, "Dad, I hadn't thought about it." And he said, "Well, it says you're named after your mother's father is David," and he says, "and my father was Arthur." He said,
King Arthur.
King Arthur, great, thank you. From now on, you'll call me that. He said,
Or is it?
he says, "What would you think about calling David Arthur?" And I actually said to him, "Okay, fine, Dad, that's great, whatever." I wasn't that concerned, and it just kind of grew into that.
So can you take me back still and keep me there in that period of time of yours, and tell me some of the most challenging moments that you ever had? Was it about planting? What was it? Trying to define what was David Arthur, or trying to define who was David Long?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in what you just said.
Keep it short.
So, you think you will start, and you say, "Okay, I will have this one grape. I'll make Chardonnay, and that will be it." And then you found out, and as I found out, I wasn't in Chardonnay country. And this goes, long about the time, shortly even after I met you, that I found out that really it's we're in Cabernet country. These rocky soils, and maybe there's more about that.
Sure.
But these rocky soils. Also, it's a little bit too. We're about middle region too in terms of heat, and it's a little bit too much for Chardonnay, I think. You're not going to get those crisp acids that you need. And Tony Soder actually came to me, this was kind of interesting. I worked for Tony Soder in 1978. He was a winemaker at Chapelet. And then when I started the winery in 1985, he came to work for me.
No way.
We switched positions. It was crazy. But he was the one that said, you should really be growing some Cabernet. He said, this is Cabernet country. And it really was, honestly, if I look back to one thing, it was really his genius, but not my own, that said, get into growing red grapes. This is where you belong.
Yeah.
And so I said, you kind of go, okay, fine, I'll do that. And you start planting it. And of course, then you go, from the time a person says, okay, let's plant Cabernet, you are 7 years really before this thing comes to be out of bottle.
7 years in France, but this is California, for God's sake. This is 3 years. Don't lie. Remember, don't lie. Don't lie. We're not getting into this shit here. So all right. So you get all that, and so you start to do like a Chardonnay, and that's what we're having right now, the 2011 Chardonnay. And let's go through that. And this is coming from the property.
Right. We're to be honest here, right?
Yes.
All honesty.
Yes.
So I have to tell you that Chardonnay, of course, as I said, when I was working at Chapelet and making Chardonnay there, I fell in love with it. I just love this grape.
Let me give it a Chardonnay.
Yeah. So then I set out to make Chardonnay, and I believe that making the best Chardonnay would be taking these grapes, crushing them, putting them into 100% brand new French oak, which was the most expensive program.
Nothing but the best.
Nothing but the best.
Right.
And so I set up, and I did that, and every year was brand new French oak. And so, it was too much. I mean, ultimately it was too much. And there was a lot of years where I continued in this line of thinking, and some of the years were good. There was a lot of Chardonnays that you won't find around because I destroyed them. I ruined them. And it really, I owe this to, I do actually owe this one to Niall Zackerley, our winemaker now, who, and this, I love this story, and so I'm going to repeat it now. Niall didn't know me very well, and after a couple weeks of him working at David Arthur, he came into my office, and much like someone new would come in, and the humble approach was great. Niall said,
talking to the king.
But he's it's really relaxed. He says, so David, I've tried all the red wines. I've been through our library of red wines, and I've gone back quite a few years. He says, I feel like I have a handle, and I know where you want to go on your red wines. And I said, okay, good. That's great.
Yeah.
He says, on your Chardonnay, where do you want to go with that? And it was the most polite way of someone saying, your Chardonnay sucks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room for improvement. And so he said, I think I know what's happened. I think I know where we need to go to get you back to those Chardonnays that you tasted years ago and loved.
Yeah.
And I said, do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, it seems like overnight. And of course, probably a year goes by, and he presents me with this Chardonnay. And I said, I love it. I said, what did you do? And he said, well, that 100% French oak idea, not good.
Yeah.
He said, what you were doing, he says, you were blowing out any of the minerality or any of the floral quality. He said, the one that you're trying that you like, he says, it's about 30% new French oak, 30% stainless steel, and 30% neutral barrels. Yeah. And I just, I loved it. And I said, this is the track I want to go on. I said, continue. So
and I want to come back to one point because you do live in a very special place. I mean, that's some neighbors wineries are very, very incredible, and that coming from a place that you start to sell the property a little bit here and there and there and there, and you have like the Colgan, and you have who else do you have up there? You have a lot of great people. Yeah. Just like Google it. Ovid, yeah,
wonderful people.
And continue. Oh, continue was on the other side, is it?
Well, it's all Pritchard Hill.
Yeah.
It continues moved up there. You've got Don Bryant.
But why your father came up to this place here? And then we're done with that.
Okay. So this is in 19. Wow, this has got to be. I don't know. This would have been in the 50s, then thereabouts. My father, and this was in the day. I have to just say this. This was in the day that when you would go to Napa Valley, you would sit down with the Mondavis, and my dad knew Peter and Robert, and if you went to Louis Martini, you sat down with Louis Martini.
Yeah, but back then, I mean, when he came up to to find this a very particular plot of land, he didn't know. I mean, no one was living up there. Seriously, no one was living up there. And how did he knew? Was it he had too much money and tax charter and just buy so what happened?
So you do these multi questions. Okay.
Yeah,
so the way that happened was. So my father, because you could do this, I think that Louis Martini or George Latour, they have lunch with Andre Telcha. Thank you. And so my father says, Andre, and my father knew nothing about growing grapes. He said, Andre, if I was going to do red grapes, he said, where would you go? And literally they're having lunch, and Andre says, go to the Eastern Hills. Just like that.
Oh, shit.
And it was as easy as that. There was no science behind it. There was no nothing. It was go there.
Yeah.
And so my father went there and started buying property. That came about by actually a failed cattle ranch purchase. My father, as I said, was a butcher by trade. He never got past the 8th grade, but became a successful butcher. Yes.
Was it like an old hunting lodge up there?
It was, yes.
Was it?
Yeah.
I heard of it, but I wasn't. Keep going.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
So my mother and father, my father was this butcher that he grew his business from this little mom and pop butcher store to then growing into this retail business and then opening more stores. My father retired at 38 years old. This guy with this 8th grade education, and he had made more money than he ever thought possible. In today's terms, you would never retire on that kind of money, but he did. And so he was looking to buy a cattle ranch in Northern California to put his 3 sons on. I think more to kind of corral us because we were, I don't want to say wild, but we were, we weren't soft-spoken children. And so the cattle ranch deal fell through. It was too many families to put together. And so my father, kind of feeling bad about that deal, my mother and father were driving back home from Northern California and to our place in at that time in Palo Alto. And my mother said, hey, you know what we should do? we've fallen in love actually with Napa Valley. In the course of looking for this cattle ranch, we've been loving Napa Valley.
Yeah.
And it was actually my mother that said, Don, why don't we buy property in Napa Valley? And that started that, and then fell in love.
So great. So you guys have been tasting the Chardonnay 2011. If you have any comment on that. So how you like the Chardonnay 2011 versus the 2010? Two different vintage. A little bit 2010 is a little bit easier, maybe. Well, not easier, but a little bit more successful on the paper than 2011. What do you think?
I will tell you that for me, for my palate, I have watched this Chardonnay get better. When Niall made the 2008, it was such a giant improvement from what I had. And I went, wow. And I was on tour, I think, at the time too, and I was tasting people. And as I'm pouring people this wine while I was on tour, I would taste and go, oh my God. And it just seemed like I loved the 08. Then when the 09 came out, I loved that better. And I will tell you that 2011 Chardonnay, despite of what people might say about the vintage, it's my favorite. It's one that, matter of fact,
you're not saying that.
In Florida,
you're not saying that because you're out of 2010 and you have to sell 2011.
Am I doing that? No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No. It's just gotten better, and I
do like the 2011. I mean, that's. I think this is the one that it's nice. I don't think it's too complex. I think we're going to see like a lot of 2011 like that. This is the one that has to be drank, sooner than later. The one is released now.
I would just soon you say it's extremely complex. Complex, yes. No.
Like a little bit like you, but but you have to. But this one, this vintage, you have to. You would have to drink it sooner than later. I think. I mean, that's like it's
short-lived.
Nice
Short-lived.
Yeah, like within the next 3 or 4 years. How many cases you made?
Let's say.
Yeah, how many cases you made?
Pam, how many cases do we make of Chardonnay?
Not enough.
Not enough?
Not enough.
That's fantastic.
242.
Oh, Jesus Christ. 242 people in the world can have a case of that. 1 bottle a month. So, and then what is the price point?
50.
$50? Okay. Yeah, a couple of cases, we're going to sell tonight here, right in the show here. So, all right, let's talk about the 2010 and 2011. The next one, we're going to move to which one you want to try?
I like to go Meritage next.
Okay, Meritage. Let's go. Shoot.
Good. I do.
Yeah.
You do.
That's all. And you're my guest.
Thank you.
There you go.
I like his pours.
Meritage 2010, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
So, all right, let's talk about this one. Meritage, what the hell would you do like some Sangiovese after?
Okay, so this is really fun because you're French. And so Bordeaux, you speak Bordeaux?
I do speak Bordeaux.
Oh, you're the most fun broken English French guy. By the way, if you need me to interpret for you, I can help you out.
Okay.
If it gets sketchy, call in. So Meritage came about. I was making Chardonnay only, as I said earlier. And it was really my father, again, that came to me. And my father really, there's this genius side to him, and there's this crazy side. And you have to try and figure out, and Dad, if you're watching, I'm sorry. You have to try and figure out when to read which one is which, and Laura knows this.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Is that right? No way.
Crazy guy. Fun guy.
Okay, fantastic.
So my dad came to me and said, you should be making a Bordeaux-style wine. And I gave it that classic thing that we do to all our fathers. And I said, yeah, okay, yeah, Dad, I'll get right on it. And but there is something about him that I said, he's probably right. And my father said, he says we are part of our heritage is actually French. Crazy enough.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Long?
Yeah. Well, that's the English side. There's a French side and there's. Okay. Yeah. So he said, you should make a Bordeaux style wine. So I set out to try the different varietals that make up the classic Bordeaux. And in doing that, Out of the 5, I never liked, and this is, again, you have to go back. I think I've been making this wine for 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
So 19 years ago, in trying the Malbecs, I was never a fan of Malbec. I just never was. And even today, I will tell you, there's not that many great ones out there. It's not that cool. So, and back then, they were pretty rough, pretty barky.
Argentina is going to log in later.
I know, they're going to go.
Some shit.
Yeah, I started to say, thank you. So, in trying this, I decided that I would just leave Malbec out and make it with just the other 4 French. And I was pretty happy with that, and I was pretty settled on the blend. And I had a table like this. Laura will remember this. Our kitchen table was almost this size. It might be a little bit smaller. But I would have, I used to do my wine tasting and blending at maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It was quiet. And so I'd have 70 or 80 glasses of wine, and I would try this over and over again and make sure this was right. And I fell in love with just the 4 French, leaving Malbec out. On a very side note, a guy that was selling my Chardonnay in New York, he was also an Italian importer. He sent me a couple bottles of Sangiovese. And so now it's 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I pretty much decided on my blend. And I see this package that it came UPS. It was on the floor next to me, and I thought, oh, now it's time I'm up. Let's cut that case open, rip that open, and see what that wine is. And I see these bottles, and it says Sangiovese. Now, again, this is almost 20 years ago. I say Sangiovese. I go, what is that? What is Sangiovese? Yeah. I didn't know. And so very separately, I open that up, and I pour myself a glass, and I go, oh, man, this is a very old world flavor.
Yeah.
I like it. It's pretty light. It's pretty thin.
Yeah.
Compared to these wines, pretty light in color, but great acidity. And I thought, it's interesting. So now it gets to be about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I need to get the glasses off the table and get ready to go to work, right? And so I'm taking them over to dump them out on the sink, just dump them out. And I thought, I wonder what the Sangiovese would be like put into this otherwise French blend. And I tried it. And I loved it.
And that was the moment.
And I said, okay, now this is what I want to make.
What year was it? Come on, think.
Laura, can you remember? 91? 91? So,
and that was and that was at a time where, no one was really
Were you here then?
No. I was back in San Diego still, but 91, yeah. But
feel I could do that to him.
No. But you can shoot. So that was 1991. So the first Meritage came up on the market when? 1994, 1995, 1996.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
94. Okay, 94.
Was it 1994?
So.
But they're very different than a Meritage, because Meritage is a blend of the way we know it is really a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and the Sangiovese, where in Italy this is a little bit the opposite. It's more of a Sangiovese blended with a little Cabernet Sauvignon. Yeah. So you're putting an American twist.
Yeah.
On it, right?
Yeah.
So and what were you trying to achieve? I mean, that's because you hear all those snobby guys the super Tuscan California can make it. This is this is that. You can do that. It's who want to shit and But I think it's a great wine. It's a great bottle of wine. So what and
we call it our gateway drug.
So is it no? It could be your house wine though.
So this wine, I make this wine. I have to tell you this right. I make this wine. First off, it goes back to the deal. You come up with this idea. Now you say, I'm going to be all estate grown and produced. And you set about then planting that and finding these different clones, right? And part of this was a clone that the statute of limitations has run out, by the way. I can't.
Come on, nothing but the truth.
So there was a group of us that took some cuttings from an unnamed vineyard.
Come on, who's a group? Who was in a group?
No, there's 5.
Come on. You're not playing game. You're not playing ball yet.
There was a bunch of us. I can't do it.
From Napa?
From Napa.
They're all of a sudden making Sangiovese?
They became making Sangiovese.
Is there more involved into that?
I can't
Gala
go.
Valley?
I can't go.
All right.
So we make this. So I make this wine, and now I grow these grapes, and then 7-8 years later, I'm ready to come out with this wine. And my brother, who is my partner, one of my partners, called me and said, what are you going to call this wine? He says, I was talking to Dad. I heard that you're ready to come out with this. You can tell how much communication I had with my brother at that point. So I said, I'm going to call this wine, this blend, I'm going to call it Red Table Wine. And my brother says,
the original.
He says, yes, the original. He says, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to fly out from Chicago tomorrow and kill you. He says, enjoy your last days on earth.
Your brother?
My brother. And I said, why? I said, everyone will understand that Red Table Wine from David Arthur is a great wine. He said, we don't have enough time on this planet for them to understand that this is a good wine. And he says, you need to give me 24 hours to come up with another name. And I thought, oh, man, okay, fine. And so I owed him this time. So I gave him 24 hours. The next day, the phone rings in the winery, and it's a small winery. I pick up the phone, and I say, hello, David Arthur Vineyards. And I hear my brother's voice just say, Meritage. And that was it. That was the name. The Meritage blend come along with the introduction of Sangiovese in that blend. He called it Meritage.
We have like a half hour to cover, a lot of topics.
Oh my God.
I mean, I love it. I could say we feel like for 2 hours. We have to pack it up in 1 hour. So, how you say, the wine is very, very, very good. 2010, is it still available at the winery?
I'm hearing yes.
Yes? What is the price point on that?
55.
55? How many cases?
Not enough.
How many cases left?
About 100.
About 100. So about 100 cases left. The wine is very, very good. It has plenty of acidity. It's nice and round. It's very spicy. It's just like a lot of vibrant fruits. I mean, this is a very delicious bottle of wine, in my opinion. And I tell you what, I thought, what I didn't look at back then, I was like, Meritage or whatever. So that was a little bit of a gimmick, but that's a nice bottle of wine. I changed my mind.
Thank you. You know what?
So all right, let's suck it up and let's get Time is
Okay.
All right then.
Okay.
Old Vine.
Old Vine.
So this is a new label because I never heard of this one before.
No.
Because when back then in the old days, I knew of the Meritage, the Cabernet Sauvignon, and the 1147. What is the Old Vine? 2010. Old Vine 2010.
Yeah. What is it?
What is it? Yeah.
I can't remember.
All right. So here it is. This is like, how much is it?
How much is it?
135.
135.
135.
You can't remember.
I can't remember.
All right. And that was a great year for the. I can remember. Yeah, I know.
I'm old. So Old Vine is through attrition. In 1978, I cleared the property. In 1980, I planted my first vines, and Chapelet. Thank you. And Chapelet was the old guard on the hill, and I still look up to them. They are wonderful neighbors, terrific people. Have kept me out of a lot of trouble. I mean, there's a lot of other stories that go away from this, but great people. But they had the Cabernet. They were the old guy. I know. They were the old guys on the hill. And, at points they would tear out their vines. They finally tore out their oldest Cabernet vines. I became next in line. I now have the oldest Cabernet on Pritchard Hill.
So that's not, estate.
Yes. My Cabernet?
Yeah.
Oh,
the old wine.
Yes, estate. Any red wine you have for me at all, ever.
Okay.
100% estate grown, produced. So
I guess I didn't listen to you too well enough because I was thinking about something else. But
sure you were.
Sorry, I'm such a fuck up. But but so all right. So this is 100% cab.
Yes. No. Bravo. No. This can be some Merlot, but it is primarily cab, and it is from those first planted 10 acres that I planted back in 1980.
Yeah.
So we're 13, so we're now 33-year-old vines.
Yeah. For the geeks, what kind of rootstock is it planted on?
Oh, this is a great story. So this is planted on. So in the years when I was trying to figure out what rootstock to plant, there was St. George was the kind of the old guard.
Yeah.
It was the old guard rootstock in Napa Valley. Then about the time, just before I'm getting ready to plant, of course, AXR becomes this thing that comes out of Davis, and they're touted as being, the same quality, higher production levels. Why would you not go with this? And I literally was at an Oakville meeting where a guy, the classic old deal, where a guy with the overalls is standing next to me, and we're hearing this thing.
Who was that? You right?
No.
No.
Actually, I think it was Elwood Mee.
No.
From Mee Lane.
Okay.
Elwood Mee.
Yeah.
He's long gone now.
Yeah. No.
But I think he said to me, he said, what way are you going to go now on this? He says, are you going to go with this new AXR? And I said, yeah, I think so. I said, I think that's the way to go. And he said, you know what? He says, I wouldn't do it. He said, I've seen some of these new things come and go. He says, if I were you, David, plant St. George.
What was it, like in 1980, early 80s, or what?
Oh.
Because you have to make a commitment.
I think it was probably 78.
78, yeah.
And just in this conversation with this old guy.
What the fuck did you know back then?
I knew nothing.
Jesus Christ. Hey, we have a tweet question.
I hardly know any more now. Oh.
We have a Twitter question. And this is, you may want to answer this later. I don't know, I'm going to leave it up to you, but
yes.
Twitter is watching, Twitter is tweeting, and Twitter is on fire. So
okay.
The question is about your 25th anniversary, because we did a little teaser. So they know about the Back to the Future. So they're wondering what's going on, what's happening, and you can get to that later.
Yeah. No, we're going to come back a little bit later on that. That was a great question here.
Thank you.
And I'm trying to go through the wine here and go through the
You're right. We don't have enough time, do we?
Yeah, I know. We have we keep going here. All right. So this is the old vine. This is the first vintage.
Do you want the first vintage out? Is this the first?
This is 2010.
Second vintage. Okay.
I thought I'd made it before.
And this is pretty much available on the mailing list, so this is also available to retail.
It's mailing list only.
All right. Great, Laura, you're so beautiful.
I need these people around me.
All right, let's look it up and let's move it to the next one there. So now I want to talk to you about something, and I don't know how you're going to take it, but I'm going to shoot though. Like one of your best, buddies and Bob Hagoff was a long time winemaker for you.
Yes, great
and
guy.
Then after that, you switched to Nils, and tell us a little bit what happened. And look,
Yeah.
Was it like a change of direction for you? Was it what happened?
You know what? I really this is one of those classic deals where the buck stops here, and it was really me taking my eye off the ball. And you know what happens is you were around for that, so you have these different vintages, and the scores were getting higher and higher and higher, and you
believe in that? It helps. But
I will tell you,
is there a way of doing it? Because if that was a really, I don't want to go outside my question, but if that was really a way of doing it, why do you travel?
Oh, which is
okay, but So let's go back to. I'm sorry, guys. I mean,
it's good. It's good because we can. Yeah. So in that, Bob, first off, Bob Egelhoff, if you're watching, you're a great guy. And he is a great guy. Bob Egelhoff is one of the funniest, most humorous guys.
I love him too.
Yeah, ever. He's a great guy and great winemaker. It was really me taking my eye off the ball. And I hate to say this, when your scores get really high, and you want to tell yourself during this, you say, do not get cocky. Don't get cocky about where this is. But I will tell you, as much as you want to say that, you become complacent.
Okay.
You start to think, as much as you say this, you say, you know what, we can't do anything wrong. And then guess what? You do a lot wrong.
Yeah.
And that was really what happened. So we had a couple of years that the wine was wrong. And my communication with Bob wasn't great, in those years because he also was elevated.
I don't want to put you through that. I mean, but
Thank
so
you.
look, now how you make like a meal and how so you go into that and then I'm sure you're starting to okay, it's time for me to find someone else because I'm not going to make the wine.
Yeah.
I need to find someone who's coming up here. And do you advertise? Do you and how you find this guy came up and how long was the interview with him?
So what happened there was when I knew I needed to make a change, Heidi Peterson Barrett, old friend of mine, also consulted for us for years early on.
I didn't know that.
And yeah, in the early years after Tony, then Heidi, and Heidi, we had the relationship. We were a brother and sister. We were really. I was a brother she never had, and she was a sister I never had, and we just had a great relationship. And brother, sister, and so I talked with Heidi and I said I'm going to change directions and where I'm going, and she said we met at lunch, and almost in I'm going to say in 5 minutes, really my lunch, when the information I needed from her was really obtained and gotten. And she said, I have one person for you. And I said, who is that? And she said, Niall Zachary. And I said, is he really on the ball? I said, is he really involved in the wine? I said, how much? She says, oh no. She says, this guy will be the most anal guy you've ever met with regard to care of wine. And
then you talk to him for 5 minutes. And oh my God!
This is the same guy.
Yeah. He's great. He's great. But the guy, he's really, really fun. And but you talk to him to the airport, and it's just like it's just like go into the Jesus Christ. I mean, the guy's really passionate. And
he's so passionate. I will tell you, we met. I knew he was the right guy. My background is art. I was a ceramics guy in college. So
were you?
Yeah.
Really?
So really non-technical, and here I have this technical guy, right? So it's art meets technology, and it is the perfect marriage. I think it's the perfect marriage.
So that's the only guy that you really interviewed a fun a recommendation from Heidi Barrett, And
she said, his background. So Niall had been responsible for taking Chateau Montelena. Remember?
Chateau Montelena, Barnett, and Barnett before, and
right,
Chateau Montelena.
Right. But Montelena had gone through this problem. They had that TCA problem that got recognized in Spectator so bad.
Boys gonna kick you out.
No, you guys totally cleaned it up. It's awesome. And so Niall was the guy that was really responsible for taking Chateau Montelena, cleaning up their entire program.
That's what I did, because I is married to Bo.
Exactly.
And really,
right.
And she recognized a guy that can do some cleaning, because Bo can do it.
Yeah, and Bo's great. And so I've been friends with all those guys for so long. And so when she said Niall's your guy, it was done, and we just finished lunch, and I went home, and he is the guy. But I will tell you, he is the guy that will go on his honeymoon and call you from Hawaii on his honeymoon to ask you to check on a tank temperature or on barrels. And I told him, I said, you know what? Everything is fine here. Enjoy your honeymoon, or you'll be going through a divorce before you get finished that trip.
What is the best dish with this one year?
My ribs, yeah. David Arthur ribs. Yeah, with some fat on them. With some meat on the bones. Yeah, okay, fine, yeah. We'll do this again soon.
All right, let's go move to 1147. I love the label. You switch. It looks like a mom champagne.
It does look like mom champagne. They're probably going to sue me. That was the problem with Meritage. Did I tell you that?
No.
the Meritage Foundation was going to sue me for using Meritage, and I was so afraid of that I called my brothers and I said, Meritage Foundation called us and said they're going to sue us for using Meritage.
Because the band, the red band.
No, just they said Meritage. Too close to Meritage, right? And my brother said,
you hate that? Those people are trying to make like a buck on your back. Just motherfuckers. I mean, seriously. I mean, every time you do something,
he means that in the nicest way.
Every time you do something, you have to watch about whoa, you copy me, or you here it is. It's all right. 11:47, 2010.
I love it. This is your program.
No, but 2010. All right.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
I'll jump around.
No, that's great. Let's talk about 2010. I'm trying to keep because I want to talk also about the foundation, the next quarter. So, and bring Laura in the equation. So let's talk about 11:47. 11:47.
Okay.
First vintage. What was it?
Thank you. I can't remember. 95, 96, 95. Okay, so how this came about is I will tell you. And I want to share this with viewers. What happened is when you are making wine and you have all these different barrels, you will gravitate towards barrels. You would do the same thing. It's at the end of the tour. You've had people have tried your wine and they're getting ready to get in their car and leave. And before they leave, you want them to sample your finest wine. I mean, you want to have the finest wine on their lips as they drive out of there. I'm no different. So there was, through the course of sampling my barrels that I had, I knew there was a couple barrels that were was what I felt was my best wine. And so I would sample them that and send them on the road. Hopefully they would drive down the road saying, "Oh my God, this is smoking. This wine from David Arthur is smoking." So then, because I'm slow, it took me 4 or 5 years to say, this wine should be on its own. This should be on its own.
Is 11:47 the altitude of
Yes.
That's the exact altitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my brother will appreciate the story, and so I will do this. This wine came about by, so it had been 4 or 5 years, maybe, from the Meritage, when my brother told me about Meritage.
Yeah.
And, he hung up on me, and then he called me and said, "I hear that you're coming out with this new red wine." He said, "What are you going to call it?" I was remembering the story years ago, how he had kind of busted me on calling Meritage the red wine. And so I said, "I'm not sure what I'm going to call it." He said, "Do you still have that topographical map in your office that has the elevation of all our vineyards?" And I said, "Yes, I do. It's right behind me." And so I looked through these contours and I see that the elevation of that vineyard is at 1,147
so
feet.
he's a brain beyond all that. Because it's so hard to give like a name to anything. I mean, really. You have like Meritage and then the rest of it you call all vine or Chardonnay. I mean, just.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, yeah.
So all right, so so you have this 11:47 coming up here, and you decided that was the best barrels that you could put together. And 1995 was the first vintage of that. I was exposed to that when I was in Lucca, but one person, I got to do him justice in that. It was Doug Wilder. Doug Wilder was like told me about it, and that was like
really,
he was a very big problem.
Oh,
You're just a friend, he was like he loved it, and I remember this lunch we did with Pax, you and I, there,
and
that was like one was there too, I think, and that was like 1998 or 1999, something like that, and we had steaks and we had truffles. And we grilled, Dave. And
remember Pax bumps the one stick off. One stick pitches off into the. But you know what? Can I tell you something? We have to give honor to these guys. The group that was there. Juan Mercado has Realm, killer wines. Pax, The Pax wines.
Pax wines and the Wind Gap and the Agatha and yeah.
I mean, it was really, and these were guys that hadn't gotten started yet. But where they have gone,
yeah.
You know, and you, my God.
Oh, I'm a joker.
You are so fun.
So
I'm toasting you. Come here. Come on. I'm toasting you where you've gone. I'm so proud of you.
I'm not going anywhere, guys. So the winery, the winery is open to the public. You can come up and people can come and see you and you're available, right?
It's important that they touch me.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. No, yes, absolutely. They call the winery. They'll get a hold of Laura. Laura will set up a time and tasting, and they'll meet either Tyson or and I'll be there. And I try and meet everybody that's there. I like that.
It's great. Like, I mean, the wineries are open to the public, and that is fantastic. And but me being in this business here, I've seen like a lot of things going on. People misbehaving or getting like also fucked up. It's crazy. Like, in your opinion, like, what is like, do you recall something without naming anyone, but like in an occasion where like something happened to the winery that was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Something like something like
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, in I can't remember the year, but the incident I remember. Huge windstorm, and we lived in this little house. I mean, I lived in this little cracker box of a house. I think 13 or 1400 square feet, and one night the roof tiles blow off the house. I mean, it's, I don't know, 80, 100 mile an hour wind. Roof tiles blow off the house, and the biggest wind I'd ever been in. And I walked down. At that time, I had no pavement, and I walked down the dirt road. Which the house was just a little bit above the winery, and I walked down the dirt road, and as I walked down, I owned three stainless steel tanks, and as I walked down the hill, I see that two were standing.
No way.
They were blown down. But it actually worked out for me because I called my insurance company. And actually, I owe this to Joy. She was concerned about the insurance, and she had actually made sure that they were insured. I don't know if you knew about that. And so the tanks were insured, and so they blew over. And I called my insurance company. They came out and said, "What do you want us to do with these?" And I said, "Well, I guess they need to be hauled off." And I called my metal fabricator, and I said, "Buy these tanks." And he bought those tanks, and I had them fixed, and I wound up getting a great deal. And so it happened.
So 2010, very, very nice as well. Still available at the winery. You have a mailing list?
We have a mailing list. Oh, did I move it? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, you try to So here it is. So what's the price on that? 175, 175, 175, 175. Now, okay.
You already can't understand auctioneers. Imagine a French auctioneer.
That'll be great. I'll be so
You'd be the worst.
I'll be
the worst
so
nightmare
great.
that ever happened. I love you, but
so 1147, 2010, still available at the winery, and then 55, no 56. No.
What the hell is he talking about?
Right? And still available. So the wine is very, very nice. It's very soft. It's soft. I mean, that's like I think this is like a plenty of acidity in this one. Yeah, this is the one that will eventually really grow in its own, and but and get a little bit more subtle.
Thank you. And typically it has been the even vintages that have been the vintages that are not necessarily so great. 2010. I'm so fortunate because it is our 25th anniversary. I love this wine. It's already to me feeling like it's very fleshy. I love it.
So, all right. So, right now I would like to bring your daughter, Laura.
Oh. Okay. Oh, this is so
coming
fun.
up. But we have like about 10 minutes or 15 minutes to talk about a new couple of things here. One thing is obviously your father brought you a lot. I mean, really led it, and set up defined your path. From a loser in Colorado.
You know what? I was so dense, I never realized.
You're one of the greatest. You're one of the greatest winery and the winemaker, and you're doing so well. And you're traveling. I would love. I never had a chance really to talk about the bus and it's so much. It's so much.
See what happens?
It's But from what would be your legacy now to I mean, how are you gonna pass the baton?
So I will tell you that years back, I didn't envision a transition to family. I didn't see it. Laura actually, when she was younger, and this is like in 8th or 9th grade, Laura had told me at the time, she says, I would like to be the general manager for the Four Seasons. In a hotel, And so I just knew right then, I thought I knew then, she's not going to come back into this deal. And so I thought, this may be a winery that is just my own, and then done. And then about 5 years ago, Laura came back to work for us. And you have to understand, Laura has worked for the company since she was old enough to walk down the hill to the winery. I don't know if that's 4 years old, but she would walk down looking for Dad, and she would get so excited about bottling. And I'd tell everyone the story that we had we would bottle with a little, put 2 bottles on at a time, take a couple off, and this was our bottling line, and the hand corker. And the boxes one of the things by law you had to do was to stamp the date. And so I had one of those stamps that would ink itself. And so Laura would be the date marker, and she would. I taught her to stamp the boxes. Well, she's 4 years old, and so she would stamp the boxes, and then turn around and stamp the walls, and stamp her arm, and it was. But she has been there from the very beginning, and so I didn't see this coming. And so when she came to work after college, and Laura has her MBA in finance. I didn't know how badly we needed that type of person in the winery because that's not my background, obviously, if you know me. So Laura has come in, and Laura now really is the person that really runs the show. She is operations manager. She watches everything and lets me be me.
Before Laura can answer anything, finish it up. Suck it up. We're gonna try the new Nebbiolo 2011. I never heard of this 1 year. So, the honors. Next, because he wasn't fast enough.
There's no dump buckets here.
All right, it is. Good look at everybody's jumping in it. So what is what are you doing? Are you doing something different from what your father did to you, to Laura?
Well, my background...
very quick, because
my background would have been the grocery business, right? And I did that in high school. I was the guy that did everything from clean the butcher cases, scrub them down, to the guy that stocked the soup cans on the shelf, carry out the groceries to the customers in the cars in our grocery business.
I did that with you, though.
You paid your dues.
Yeah, I paid my dues.
Fuck that, Dad, come on,
I rode around in his truck. We delivered wine, everything from picking up root stock, going to get hay.
You married?
Yes.
You're married? You're married? I'm just asking, Hey, look, it's just
awesome guy.
for the people watching, I bring you some business. You know?
I know. I paid my dues, though. I mean, I rode around.
She's always been with me.
With my dad as a little girl, and I loved riding around with him. We always had the best time, which is so appropriate that I found myself back in the wine business, working with you and being together, doing what we love to do.
It's just easy. It's easy. Every day is easy.
It's just a little bit more on a sophisticated level. You know, it's not
every morning. Every morning we hug and kiss, and we do business.
Yeah.
But you know, all right, we you know, there's so much here because like I want to go really deep down here. You're philanthropic too. You are.
I am what?
Philanthropic. You know you are working with for causes and you are like, you know, and something that's really important. Something that's very important to you is the Michael Fox, J. Fox Foundation.
Yes.
And I know for a fact, because we didn't cover it, but I know for a fact that, you know, you're doing something really, really interesting, very big up on the ranch.
Yeah.
And I want to know a little bit about, you know, your relation. Are you a buddy with Mikey, or are you like, you know, how you get? Because as a winery, you know, I know for a fact that you guys are bombarded with donation and making, like, you know, be involved, and especially a winery like yours. So this one seems to be a little bit special. And why this is special, and why it's going to happen, and when it's going to happen, and what people can do to help. And you want question? Give me fucking questions.
No, you're all good.
And
baby.
then, you know, but it's really good because I do think so that too, you know, and but that's also, you know.
So what happened? So we're here. What happened is a bunch of years ago, and I can't, you know, me on dates. I don't remember the date. I had a phone call from a limo driver that said, Heather Locklear would like to meet you. And I thought it was, you know, my roommates from college, we played a lot of jokes on each other, and I was pretty sure it was a joke. And but I met her and her husband, and they became great friends to Laura's mom, Joy, and I. And that friendship grew, and we became where we were friends and doing things together. And in all of that, what fell out of that is there was a Michael J. Fox event that was held at CIA.
Okay.
And
yeah, in St. Helena.
In St. Helena.
Okay.
And that's when you met him.
And that's when I met him.
Yeah.
Heather invited me to sit at her table, and then she came to me and she said she didn't know what to say to these people. And I said, you know what, we're all just farmers. Just you being here will be fine. But Michael J. Fox was there, and it was for this event. And he was a nice guy, soft-spoken, regular guy.
How long ago was it?
Oh my God!
Was it before or after the before?
Oh, I think.
90s,
Oh, yeah. I think this is maybe 10, 12 years ago, 10 years ago maybe. Yeah.
So it was already like, you know, he was really into it. I mean,
yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah. No, he was.
He was aware of it. Yeah.
And you were really inspired by his work and everything that he does with the foundation.
Yeah, he was just honest, straight guy.
But then, let me ask you this question, because still, ToutSuite, and then were you inspired because of his fame, or were you inspired really by, you know, by the disease itself?
Okay, this is going to be a little bit shocking for everyone here, including my family.
Shock.
Including my family and people here. I actually was diagnosed. I have the Parkinson's gene.
You do.
And I don't know whether it will manifest itself or not. I don't know. I came home from college and I actually had a stomach problem, and I was tested for a lot of things. And
how long ago was it?
What was it? What?
How long ago was it?
Oh, I can only remember. This has got to be over. Oh my God, this is.
You know about it?
I think 27. No, they're hearing this for the first time.
No, this is the first time I've heard that.
Yeah. So they test me. I mean, ironically, and here you go. This is I tested positive for an allergy to tuna. I love tuna fish. I also was tested positive for Parkinson. So, who knows? Will it manifest itself? I don't know. But there was a connection that I made from Michael J. Fox and what he had gone through and the potential for what I may go through. And then since that time, life goes on, and we have friends in the wine business that are also affected by this, and it's manifests itself in a very serious way. And it made sense to me. It made sense.
So this is that's happening in your property, beautiful property, and give us a date.
Of what?
June 22nd.
June 22nd.
June 22nd.
Okay, wait. Pam, come in here immediately.
Yeah, Pam, come here.
Come in here. Come here.
Sit on here.
I'll sit right back here behind him.
Sit on here.
I'll sit right back here behind him.
No, you're fine. So give us some details, Pam. How people can reach out and get information. How different ways they can really participate.
They can participate in a million ways. We can call the winery. We have a site called Charity Buzz that they can go on. They can go on the Michael J. Fox Foundation. We have an event section there. It made a lot of sense for us. David was talking about his connection, but when I look back, 25 years ago, Back to the Future was a top movie. And when I started to think about it, his father bought the property in the 50s and 60s, and David's there, and then Laura. And so it made so much sense to me that we are not only looking back, but we're looking to the future. And that's when I presented to David and said, David, let's do this. And he goes, I know Michael J. Fox. Let's do a charity event. And it's been an amazing opportunity to be part of that. And all the support that we've shown, that people have shown for us, and everybody that's got involved. And we'd love to have everybody that's out there be involved with us.
So the different website again?
They can go to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. Our event is on the website. They can go to the Charity Buzz. We're going to have an online auction that's going to be a week before our event in June 22nd. We're going to have something on our website. You can call Laura, David, myself, Didier, whoever you want. We'll all take care of you.
It's all right. That's fantastic. I mean, we keep going. Fuck it. I say, 2011.
I love this guy.
2011, Nebbiolo. The first time you're doing that.
Wait. Okay, so how did this come about? Let me ask my own question. So, Nebbiolo, I love Italian wines. And so when I go to Italy, everyone goes there for vacation. I go there to taste wine. And I've gotten way hooked on Piemonte. And in Piemonte, the wine that makes up Barolo is Nebbiolo. And I thought...
No questions? No questions?
No questions. Yes, they will have when I get done. When you're tasting Barolo, when you get one that finally hits with you, and actually your mother and I were in Carmel. Oh yeah, we were at Casanova in Carmel, and I spent more money than I've ever spent on a bottle of wine on this bottle of Barolo.
She don't remember because she wasn't born yet.
No. Oh, no.
She was.
I was probably.
No. That night.
No. You were in.
That's
too
much information.
That night.
Too much information.
That night.
So we go to Carmel. I'm at Casanovas. We have this bottle of this just killer Antinori Barolo, and it just hit. I'd had other Barolos before that. This is that one that has the right age. And if you've had these Barolos, you know what I'm talking about. It just hit. And I went, oh my God. Okay, so then, now, fast forward some years later. Now working for me. And Niall says, yes, we have this corner of this vineyard that's always in fog. Niall says, what would you ever think about growing Nebbiolo? Yes! He says, well, do you want to plant some? I said, let's do it. And so we grafted over about 1,000 plus vines from Cabernet. There had already had about maybe a 50-year-old rootstock. We grafted to Nebbiolo, And so this is what we're having now.
That's awesome.
It's just a fun project.
We have a question from Chris. No way, Chris coming up to the
What are
podium.
you doing planting Cabernet in Napa Valley after tasting the Nebbiolo?
Isn't it fun?
Hello.
Isn't it fun?
It's great. Thank you.
You know what?
It's probably, it's not, I'm going to say the best wine here, but we're all enjoying it in the crowd.
It's just fun, you know. So they, you know, in Barolo, you leave this in barrels 3 years. So your taste. This is 2011, and I'm just a fan of it. But I am that guy that also gets very involved in doing new projects. So you know, late harvest Riesling, Barolo, and Laura has like kind of like reined me in, and I don't do so much that.
I do.
But I love this.
You know, I have a question for you. You give so much credit to Napa Valley and the fact that your family has purchased this wonderful property up on Pritchard Hill, but Nebbiolo has been always known to be the winemaker's wine. I mean, so there's got to be something that puts your stamp on this. What is it that
You've got to wrestle that devil to the ground.
Okay, all right.
I will tell you, everything from the tricks you have to play with Mother Nature. Here's one of them. So Nebbiolo comes, it leaves early, right? It's an early guy. And it's incredibly vigorous. And so if you let these grape canes grow the way they want to, you could have a really vegetal wine. What you want to do is, and the trick that we play is, don't prune it so hard. Let those vines grow first.
Right.
Let them get the initial growth out. Let them start to leaf out. Then prune them back.
Shoot them, motherfuckers.
He's crazy.
I was kidding.
I love him.
I was
So
kidding.
we want to take the energy out of the vine to produce the
Take
most
some of
quality
his
wine.
energy, put it in the vine.
But I prefer his description.
Bravo. Great. Great job. Hey, bravo, Meritage, bravo, Nebbiolo.
Bravo.
That's why you gotta do that. Shit. So you guys are getting into business together?
Oh, this is the next deal. This is Laura really, because she has been there from the beginning, she really knows my feeling about wine and how business should be.
Most of the time we find that we're thinking the same thing. If I have a question and I'm thinking, gosh, what would my dad do? Pretty much, I'd say 99% of the time, I know the answer.
Yeah.
So are you taking over? Are you like stepping down, or what do you do? Like, you could be driving the bus and then she can take it over.
So I ask this all the time of her. I said, so am I getting kicked to the curb? And she says, no. She says, Dad, we want you there as long as you would like to be. Some years back, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I thought, I will retire. I will never retire.
What's your retire? I mean,
When he came back from his first Meritage tour, I played a joke on him that I'd actually taken over his office. And he got home and, his name was no longer on the door. It was my name. And, I timed it just perfectly when he was walking in, kind of bedraggled from being out on the road for months and months. Who did he find sitting at his desk, leaning back in the leather chair?
It wasn't pretty. I really don't like those memories. But the beautiful marriage is that Laura really watches everything. Everything. I get to play my artistic part in that I get to taste wine, decide it's great, it's not great, it needs work, whatever it needs. And that's really where I'm better. I'm on the artistic side. And then they put me on the road. I'm not good. I'm not good in the office. I tell everyone, if I'm in my office more than 45 minutes, I'm going to be on Facebook.
Yeah, I know.
I don't belong to that.
So
one more question.
We have a question, but you answered it simultaneous to the question coming in. It was about the Nebbiolo wine, and we do have actually a personal shout out from Mary Beth to say hi to Laura and Mike.
Aww.
What does this mean to you?
That's Mary Beth McPherson and Mike, who just
McPherson.
moved. Yeah, they just moved to Denver area.
Hi, McPherson.
Hey, Denver
Wonderful people.
from the Boston area, and they're just the best people.
I will tell you, I went to their house, Becky's. No, they've moved now, but Becky's, and they had a cake made, and there was a bottle of our wine in this cake. It was like, looked like a bottle of wine.
Like the red, with the red band?
Yeah,
you know,
prior to that.
Before that. But they hosted one of the first Meritage Tour dinners in a private home, and just the nicest couple.
All right, guys, we're gonna cut it off. You know, that was really fantastic. David?
You are always awesome.
No.
Thank you, Didier.
If I've missed anything that people should know about, while we're in the groove and drinking wine.
Thank you.
You know, what should we be? What do you is it like something that we should
I would say that what I want our wine to represent is there's a special vein. Just like there are Rutherford wines, there are Oakville wines, so on and so forth. There's a special Pritchard Hill vein that runs through these wines. Whether you're having the Continuum, whether you're having the Chapelet, there is a vein that runs through.
We already know this shit here, and we know that. I mean, like,
okay.
No, seriously, you do have.
We like to have fun.
You do have
Okay.
You do have what next trip coming up on the bus.
Next year, the bus.
Do you take guns in the tank? Like guns, it's just shoot
yes,
around.
We do.
You
of
do.
course we do.
Can I go?
And fireworks. He likes fireworks.
Can we start a contest? Someone that can go with you on tour bus.
Yeah.
Next year.
But
next year.
They have to be ready.
They're really cool though.
They have to get nuts.
No, that's for me. That's for me. No, but that'll be cool.
Would you like to go?
No. I don't want to go. She want to go. I want to stay. So can we do a contest? You and I, with a pen, stay there, relax. You and I, do a contest. And it's from one city to one city, like the best, whatever,
And do we do this like this?
Yeah, we do it could be from one city to the next city. And drive with you or something. Okay, we're gonna come up with something that's stupid.
Be on the bus.
No, it's gonna be cool.
On the bus.
Laura,
Pleasure.
very, very nice to
Thank
meet
you,
you. I never met you before.
Well, he keeps me hidden.
Baby,
Okay.
you know what? Congratulations on your success.
Well, yeah. Look, that was fantastic. Really fantastic of having you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
The wines are available at davidarthurvineyards.com. Please, doing so, you're going to be getting some more information into the foundation. Michael J. Fox Foundation is pretty cool.
Good guy.
He's a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy. I mean,
if you want tickets to Michael J. Fox, our event, the 2000, our 25th anniversary, go to davidarthur.com. You'll find some lead that will take you to the Michael J. Fox Foundation, and I will tell you, it will be a party.
No other.
It's gonna be a great party, and the fact and point. The fact and point right now that I have a hard time to speak, and it's time to go, and we'll see you next time to the next show. David,
we love this guy. We love him.
I love you, man. Bye bye. Hey. All right.